life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning to the Growing Edge live community here on Facebook, on YouTube, and to the Satya Center and all the other spiritual communities that are watching here today, the individuals that have jumped on. If you're jumping on for the first time, hi, I'm Ali Benjamin, and we broadcast every Sunday live at 10:15 a.m. Mountain Time, our Growing Edge live broadcast, spiritual messages, tune up, tune in, and so welcome. So glad that you're here today, and blessings. I'm seeing people jump on. Hi, Natalia. So here we are. Oh my goodness, in the midst of change, in the midst of this amazing experience that we're all having collectively. And it's not easy, is it, to be facing all of this change. And so today it's my intention that we share some time together so that we can tune into what is real, tune into what is true. And so welcome to Growing Edge Live. So let's take a moment to tune in, close the eyes, take a breath, inhale, and exhale and arrive. And maybe close the door to the past for now and close the door to the future for now, as you give yourself permission to arrive in this moment, taking a little respite from the daily activities and tuning in, taking time for yourself to have a spiritual moment, a moment where you're less engaged with the physical reality of life and more engaged with the internal, the eternal. And so as we take a mindful moment and breathe and connect with our bodies and just notice the mind, the activities, the comings and goings of thoughts. And as we enter the dimension of the witnessing presence, that aspect of our being that is beyond time and space, that includes all time and space. And we notice that we are that which has a mind, we're that which has a body, but we're so much more. We're so much more than the mind and the body. We are that ineffable spark of life, the spirit within, the God self, the higher self. And as we tune in to that deeper, broader, wider dimension of our being, we feel a sense of integration, body, mind, and spirit, body, mind, and soul. And in that recognition, there is a relaxation. So let's take a breath, relaxing into who and what we are as spiritual beings having a human experience. Taking this time on Sunday morning to connect, to activate together as we tune in, as we open the inner ear and we open the inner eye, so that we can participate consciously with the evolution of our soul, with the evolution of consciousness, with the greater planetary evolution that is occurring. And so as we tune in to that greater evolution, as we tune in to our own bodies and our own minds, our own souls, we simply relax and surrender into this one thing called life. this ever-present, eternal now moment. And so together we start, together we engage, together we create something beautiful and new, knowing that as individuals we have our unique energy, our unique essence, and we bring that energy today, right now, to this moment, to this group, to this virtual community. And together we create a synergy, an energy that is greater than the sum of its parts. So as you breathe and take a moment to realize the enormity of that paradigm, that concept, that together we bring our unique energies and we create an energy that is greater than the sum of its parts, synergy. And that we become the synarchy. We become a point in consciousness collectively that is for standing for good, standing for love, standing for beauty, standing for joy, standing for conscious evolution. Now is the time, and we're the ones. Take a breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes, open the eyes, and come back to this moment. So here we are in this moment, fully empowered, fully inspired. And I know that if you're tuning in right now, if you're tuning into this message, that you have an interest in your own personal evolution. And so today we are continuing the message of this month, which is Bring It On. And we are stepping out in a bigger way. We're stepping out. We've stepped in, we've stepped up, and now we're stepping out. And it's really interesting timing, because I created these titles for my talks months and months ago. And so the idea of stepping out when we're all inside, practicing social distancing, on retreat, we can't really step out. But the stepping out that I'm referring to isn't necessarily a stepping out in the physical world. It's a stepping out of our paradigm, our belief system. Stepping out of a way of thinking, broadening our perspective. And so we do this, we get to do this, and that's what we talk about here at Growing Edge, in New Thought communities around the globe. We talk about the fact that we can choose our thinking and choose our life. Because when we choose our thinking, we change our reality. When we think more empowering thoughts, we have a more empowering experience. Because we know, based on the law of attraction, based on the law of cause and effect, that every thought we think creates something in our reality. Every thought we think has an impact on our experience. So we are the thinkers that think the thoughts that create things, that create our life, that create the experience we're having. So we're all ultimately responsible for what we're experiencing. And so as we take on this responsibility, we begin to settle down with reality, because we know that we are constantly creating, and that not one of us has the luxury of negative thinking, because what does negative thinking produce? It produces more of the same. So we simply start today knowing that. So we are all involved in this external cosmic evolution. And if we buy into the theory of the Big Bang, if we buy into that theory that billions of years ago something happened and time and space started to create this physical universe, that divine spark, something sparked that. We call it God, we call it spirit. Something sparked that change, that bang. And ever since that, billions of years ago, we've been part of this cosmic evolution, because if we're all one, we're all interdependent, we're all interrelated. If we believe in the principle of oneness, then we were there at the Big Bang. Not in the form we're in now, but energetically, in consciousness, we're all a part of this evolution. And today, today, right here, right now, on the 22nd of March, 2020, we are at the very leading edge of that conscious evolution, of the universal evolution, and we're here alive, awake, aware, conscious of ourselves. We're the only species, I think, that is conscious of being conscious. So we participate through our consciousness, and we use our mind to direct consciousness, to direct our attention. So how are we participating in conscious evolution? How are we participating in the evolution of humanity? That's really what's key right now, as each of us have been so deeply impacted by this coronavirus and everything that's going on in the world because of it. We now, as thought leaders, we now, as conscious evolutionaries, get to decide how we're going to participate in the evolution of humanity. We are at a tipping point now. All of us have an opportunity, as we're in our homes, as we're distancing ourselves from others. We're not isolating because we're engaged here on Facebook and social media, by our phones, by our emails. We can still stay connected, but we're isolating from each other. It's a really good time to ask ourselves, who am I? What's meaningful to me? How can I contribute in a positive way to the evolution of humanity? Because systems, structures, what we've known in the past is not going to be the same. Everything is changing now. Systems and structures that have been in place for decades, we're seeing they may not really meet our needs moving forward. Maybe we need to look at them and see how we can change them. So maybe you're involved. What's the work you're involved in? What do you do in the world, out there in the world, that you might give some thought to? Are you being called to change the way you do things in the world in your work? Are you being called to change the way you do things inside your mind? Are you being called to change the way that you participate with your life, the kinds of foods you eat, the kinds of spiritual practices you have, the footprint, the carbon footprint that you make on this planet? It's changed. I know that I'm not driving as much. I'm not going to the grocery store. I'm not doing things that I used to do, that I used to take for granted, that caused effects, because every action we take creates an effect in the world. So that's really what I want to have us think about as conscious co-creators. What can we do to make a difference? So I want to end in a little activation, a prayer, and then I'm going to hand it over to Michael, and he's going to take us into a deep dive with some really profound questions to ask ourselves. So let's go back into that place, that dimensionless, timeless space of the heart. And as we breathe and bring coherence to our brain and our heart, breathing in love, exhaling love, breathing in love, exhaling love, settling down, allowing our breath to find its natural rhythm. And as we tune into the one life, the one power, the one presence, we know we are a part of this one global happening that is occurring all around us all the time. We are a part of life. We're breathing it, we're being it, we're participating in it. It's not me and them, it's us and we. And as we ground ourselves in that collective, in this collaborative, in this huge human family, all sentient beings, and as we, in consciousness, connect like a global heart link up, and as we connect heart to heart with every sentient being around the globe right now, feeling our oneness, feeling our deep care and concern for one another, knowing that we get to be the change, that as we elevate our thinking, we elevate consciousness. So let us elevate our mind, elevate our energy right now, and inhabit the dimension of joy. Inhabit the dimension of contentment, the dimension of consciousness, of intuition, of aliveness, alertness, creativity, as we enter the dimension of our intellect, our wisdom, our beauty, our health, our aliveness, our courage, our confidence, our forgiveness, our compassion, as we awaken as compassionate thought leaders. What I know and accept for each and every one of us, that we step out in our lives as our most authentic expression of love. And maybe we can't reach out with our hands so much right now, but we can reach out with our hearts. So let's do that now. Reaching out with our hearts, sending love, waves of love and light to all beings across the land, wherever you are, whatever town and city you're in. Just see your love and your light lighting up everybody, giving everyone a virtual hug, sharing your love light with everyone in your town, your village, your city, out beyond, going out to the state, to the borders, which aren't really borders, they're all man-made, human-made. Beyond any border, dissolving borders and going out across the continent, throughout all the mountain ranges and bodies of water, oceans and beyond, until all continents are touched by your love, by our love, by the one love, God's love, until our whole planet is illumined by love, in love, as love. That people around the world are waking up, that all beings, the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the wings, the fin, the hoof, the creepy crawlers, the tree people, the stone people, the plant people, the earth, water, wind, fire, all the elements, everything is enlivened by our intention, by our attention of love and joy and freedom and peace that is happening now. As we give our global family a virtual hug, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Breathing in, bringing that love back into your own heart. So I give thanks for this time together, opening the eyes, namaste, and I turn it over to Michael. So thank you very much for being here. If you'd like to support this ministry, this message, we are the hands of God serving, we're the heart of God loving, with the mind of God knowing, and with the voice of God speaking, all of us. And so if you want to support this ministry, this vision, inspiring minds, healing hearts, transforming lives, then you can send a donation. Venmo Satya Center, SATYA CENTER. Thank you, namaste, and here's Michael.
Well, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and raise this up a little bit so my head is a little bit less chopped off. How's that? So thank you. As Ali just shared with us a fantastic message about, knowing that there's this spiritual evolution that's occurring, the presence is never absent. And not only is the presence, the divine presence, we like to call it God because it's the biggest word we know, is never absent. It's always moving. It's always becoming. And so as we take a little deeper inquiry, I'd like to read this. As we awaken to our true self, we see that our thoughts affect our life, that the choices we make and the actions we take affect us and those around us. From a larger perspective, we are all participating in evolution. The great universal evolution of our personal evolution. The great evolution and our personal evolution, our spiritual evolution, is directly impacted by our thoughts, our words, and our actions. So as we go a little deeper with this, understand that we don't awaken in our comfort zone. We awaken outside of our comfort zone. And right now, it's my guess, it's my awareness that most of us are outside of our comfort zone. And so this is the time that we awaken. This is the time that we have an opportunity to go deeper and deeper into what's going on. How am I affecting this? And so the questions we have is, what are we going to do differently? Think more positively, perhaps. Be kinder to myself. Help my neighbor from a social and sterile distance with masks and gloves in some way. Hold our communities, our hospitals, our health workers. See how God is showing up in service as humans right now, fully prepared, pressed down and flowing out. And so as I have a question I want us to contemplate deep and think about it for a second. Question: what are we willing to do differently? Who are you willing to become? And how are you willing to change? I'm going to repeat those. I'd like to sit for a moment in the silence. What are you willing to do differently? Who are you willing to become? And how are you willing to change? Just listen. Who am I willing to become? What am I willing to do differently? And how am I willing to change? And listen. And so as we contemplate that at this time, maybe you heard some things. Maybe you heard the divine communicating to you. Continue to, and Ali will post those. We'll post those questions in the comments. We'd like for you over the next day or so, as we're sitting in quarantine or isolation at our homes and keeping safe, take that into meditation and consult with that mind, consult with God, the God mind, where you are not doing any of the talking, and just listen. And I have some affirmations in closing I'd like for you to affirm with me right here. Speak it out loud with me. Affirm it into action. I'm willing to change. I am willing to change. I'm ready to evolve. I am ready to evolve. I am awakening my authentic power. I am awakening my authentic power. I am a blessing to the world. I am a blessing to the world. And in closing, just remember that it's outside of our comfort zone when we awaken. It's outside of our comfort zone when we awaken. Right now, it's time to awaken to the ever-present presence that is never in absence. Namaste from our isolation bunker at Mountain Lane Cottage here in Big Bear Lake, California, coming to you live from Growing Edge Inspirations at the Satya Center. Please join us Thursdays and Sundays, 10:15 Mountain Time on Sunday and 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday. Blessings to you all. Namaste.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Open my heart with the whispers of truth, to live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge, on the growing edge.
That's our Leslie Monroe coming to you. Thank you, Leslie. We love you all. Peace and blessings. Always here. PM us for prayer. Call us directly. We're here 24 hours a day, our team of practitioners and ministers. Thank you very much. Love you all. Peace and blessings.